Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. These are the headlines.
A judge delays a decision on whether the trial of Jeffrey Donaldson and his wife Eleanor on alleged historical sex offences should proceed.
There's condemnation of an overnight attack on a house in the Shankill area of Belfast.
And an Enniskillen woman who lost her dad to suicide when she was just a baby opens up about her experience as part of World Mental Health Day.
We don't talk about mental health and suicide enough in our community. I want to be able to help others in my position.
Also tonight.
I'm at Windsor Park, where Northern Ireland can join visitor Slovakia on 6 points at the top of the group with a win here tonight.
We meet two local sporting heroes who are both fighting fit, having had a stroke.
And just how long will this dry weather hang around for? Well, join me later in the programme for the full details of your forecast.
No decision has been taken yet on whether the sex abuse trial of former DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson and his wife Eleanor will go ahead next month.
Newry Crown Court was told that's because the judge is waiting for the full medical picture on Eleanor Donaldson's health before making any decision. Both deny all the charges against them. Here's our crime and security correspondent, Sharon O'Neill.
It's been almost a year and a half since Jeffrey Donaldson appeared in this court for the first time, accused of serious historical child sex offences in a case that has stunned Northern Ireland. Charged alongside him, wife Eleanor Donaldson. The former DUP leader has pleaded not guilty to 18 offences, including 1 count of rape, indecent assault and gross indecency. The charges span more than 20 years and allegedly involve 2 victims. His 59-year-old wife faces aiding and abetting charges, which she denies. As with previous hearings, neither had to be here. Eleanor Donaldson's health issues, once again the focus. Last time round, the judge said he had hoped he would be in a position today to definitively make a decision on whether the trial of both could proceed at the start of next month. But that crucial decision has been put on hold for another 10 days, pending the receipt of more medical reports. The judge told Newry Crown Court he had received a medical report this morning, and it was disclosed Eleanor Donaldson has further appointments in the coming days. Raised what was described as the obviously pressing trial. The case was adjourned until October the 20th, with the judge saying he hoped to make a decision around her medical situation then. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live, Newry.
Police are investigating an arson attack on a house in North Belfast last night.
No one was inside the property at the time, and while police say a racial motive is one line of inquiry, a DUP MLA told me earlier today he does not believe this is the case. A scorched front door and boarded up windows daubed in graffiti, the damage caused in an attack in North Belfast. Emergency services were called to this property at Upper Glenfarne Street shortly before 9 o'clock last night. 2 fire appliances were here. They extinguished a small blaze at the front of the house. No one was inside at the time. While police say one line of inquiry is that the attack was racially motivated, a local DUP Assembly member doesn't think this is the case. You don't believe this is a race hate attack?
No, from all the information that I've gathered from the housing executive about the tenant and from others locally, my council colleagues, confident this is not a race hate attack.
How would you explain then the graffiti that we see, not just on this property, but in an adjacent wall?
Yeah, well, I don't support graffiti like that being put up. It's detrimental to the area, and I think it is a reflection just of the high demand that there is among local people to get social housing. Sadly, there's been a number of incidents of such graffiti happening, and it is detrimental to the community. The vast majority of local people oppose such graffiti. I'm aware, of the difficult summer that we have had, and we need to move on from that. ensure that the community is safe and welcoming place for everyone.
Police are continuing to appeal for information. Tonight, as part of World Mental Health Day, we have been speaking to an Enniskillen woman who has shared the pain of losing her dad to suicide when she was a baby in a very powerful video to help raise awareness.
Cherry Ingram used old footage her mother took of her father when she was growing up to tell her story. Sarah O'Kane reports.
One morning, he went out for a walk without saying anything. Even 6 months ago, I couldn't have had said the words, "My dad died by suicide." It's been a big step for me, even being able to share my story, because I felt so much shame about it, because in general society, you know, we don't talk about things like this.
Cherry Ingram's father, Gunnar Johansson, took his own life on the 5th of January 1998. He was only 45. Cherry was only 18 months. They all lived in Sweden at the time. Cherry, now 29, has decided to open up about the pain of losing her dad in a powerful video she made to raise awareness.
For a long time, he didn't feel able to open up about what he felt, which I think is quite common. There's that sense of, especially men at that age, can't talk about how they're feeling. And it was actually more of a sense that he felt so much shame about it. I think it's had a huge effect on me as a person growing up, in any way from being able to cope. All I've ever really known is that sense of one of the people that brought me into this world decided to leave me.
Enniskillen Running Club held an event during the week on mental health, and Cherry shared her story about suicide because she believes we don't talk about it enough.
I just want to raise awareness about the issue itself, and again, because we don't talk about mental health and suicide enough in our community, I want to be able to help others in my position, being able to open up, but just in general in a society where we don't talk about our feelings. I just think it's important that we do.
Today is World Mental Health Day. It's something that will affect most, if not all of us, at some time in our lives. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live, Enniskillen.
Well, earlier I spoke to Northern Ireland's mental health champion, Professor Siobhan O'Neill. Well, Siobhan, we just heard Cherry Ingram's story there. I think I want to begin tonight by asking you, if there is someone watching tonight in distress, what is the advice?
It's really important to ask for help. If you're in a crisis, Lifeline are there 24/7 on 0808 808 8000. And of course, you can access mental health services through the emergency department, so primary care as well.
OK, let's talk about Stormont's mental health strategy. I know you're a big advocate of that. We're hearing from the department this week that they're going to have to scale that back. How worried are you?
This is really devastating for those of us who have been involved in the development of the strategy. It hasn't received the funding it's needed over the past number of years, and I've been saying that repeatedly. And now the deliverability review confirms that it's not going to be possible to deliver all of the actions in the time period specified. What we do have, though, is a prioritisation process, and we've identified priorities, but they will still require additional funding. So the funding that we have year on year is not sufficient, even with those priorities. So it's a really desperate situation to be in.
And the Health Minister, Mike Nesbitt, has been clear he is personally disappointed, but it just seems the money isn't there. Where else do you think the Health Minister can go?
Well, I think the health service needs transformation, and that may well release funds. But until that happens, it's a matter for the executive to meet and agree themselves to allocate money to the mental health strategy, because this is a transformation project and they have made a commitment to transformation in our programme for government, albeit the mental health strategy doesn't receive that much attention within that programme for government. But I think the executive need to look at this and ring fence some funding for this strategy, because investing in mental health will pay dividends for the whole population.
Siobhan, you and I have spoken about the mental health strategy many times before. We've talked about the programme for government. Do you get a sense the executive is taking this issue seriously enough?
I don't, unfortunately. There's no evidence of a commitment to mental health and wellbeing in the executive government departments. There's actions there around poverty. Our anti-poverty strategy was really important because deprivation is a major cause of poor mental health, and yet it's not fit for purpose. We aren't seeing the changes in education. The wellbeing in the curriculum hasn't been implemented, and there's no sign of that happening to date. So, there's a lot of actions there that our government should be doing to improve the mental health of the population, and the mental health strategy is part of that as well, and finding the funding for that strategy is really, really important.
Professor Siobhan O'Neill, there we'll leave it. Thank you very much indeed. Well, you can find out more about World Mental Health Day on our website. Just search UTV News. There you will also find support and guidance.
The trial of Soldier F, accused of killing 2 people on Bloody Sunday, has heard he has no reliable recollection of events on that day. He was questioned under police caution in 2016, but in a prepared statement he told officers he could not answer their questions as he could not reliably recall events in Derry in 1972.
7 men have been arrested after police and customs uncovered one of Northern Ireland's biggest ever illegal tobacco factories in Newry. They seized 1.25 million cigarettes and 9 tonnes of tobacco. That equates to more than £3 million in unpaid duty.
A sex predator from Belfast who targeted dozens of children across the United Kingdom has lost a legal challenge to his 27-year jail sentence. The Court of Appeal ruled that the sentence imposed on 56-year-old David John Andrews for catfishing young victims and the sickening abuse of a profoundly disabled adult was completely justified. Andrews posed as a teenage boy to lure nearly 50 girls into sending him explicit images. Demand for donations of free personal care products is rising, according to a charity that provides the items to those in need, as more families struggle to afford basic items like toothpaste, shower gel and deodorant.
New research from the Hygiene Bank has found that hygiene poverty may be keeping 1 in 3 children in Northern Ireland out of the classroom. Maria Hassan visited 2 schools in Dungannon which are tackling the problem.
Basic essentials for self-care and well-being. But these items can't be taken for granted. Feeling clean has become a luxury not everyone can afford.
I've had a story of a lady who cried when the local food bank who we gave products to said that she cried because she'd been washing her children's clothes in water.
As the cost of living crisis continues, demand for deliveries is growing.
There has been a stark increase in the need. We're having lots of communication from more schools, more community projects for us to help them in giving them hygiene products.
Teachers surveyed believe 1 in 3 pupils may be experiencing hygiene poverty. Schools say kids are missing out on more than 13 days of school a year as a result. And over 90% of teachers feel pupils in hygiene poverty are at increased risk of bullying. Drumglass High School has been receiving donations since 2019. Staff say the issue of hygiene poverty can lead to learning time being lost.
There is a social issue, there is a bullying aspect that can come associated with that, and then it leads on to the attendance issue, people not coming to school. If we have young people not accessing learning, they're not in the building, then that means when it comes to assessments, their attainment, their academic outcomes, they're all dramatically reduced. Now, if we can offer free products to those in need, that's absolutely fantastic. But as a whole school community, we find that these products have given us an opportunity to educate.
St Patrick's Academy is receiving donations for the first time this year.
According to the different needs, for example, we've brought you some shampoo.
Our health and wellbeing champions within the school, a group of pupils, they will be taking those products in, organising them. Those will be distributed then to our select number of staff in the school who will then confidentially, with respect and dignity, be able to be approached by pupils and their families should they need any of those products.
Hygiene poverty may be on the rise, but these pupils are lending a hand to make sure everyone at their school gets a fresh start. Maria Hassan, UTV Live.
OK, let's look at the headlines making tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Here's Lucrezia Millerini.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, a ceasefire begins in Gaza. As Israeli troops pull back, Palestinians start returning to their homes in the north. A deal was signed late last night. Within days, all hostages should be released. Also, the pride of Hyde's final journey through Manchester. Thousands line the streets as boxer Ricky Hatton is laid to rest. And the Moody Blues singer and bass guitarist John Lodge has died, aged 82. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Back here, a quick reminder that the latest episode of our new Politics podcast is available. Yes, UTV Talking Politics sees our political editor, Tracy McGee, and our political correspondent, Vicky Hawthorne, look back at the political stories that have made the headlines here over the last fortnight. You can catch up on the third instalment on ITVX or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, 2 local sporting heroes have opened up about having a stroke in the hope that people know the signs and symptoms. It comes as there are a quarter more people living with stroke in Northern Ireland than 10 years ago.
The former Ulster and Ireland rugby star Chris Henry and ex-Irish League striker Andy Waterworth sat down with Sarah McCarran.
These young dads have a lot in common. They're both retired professional athletes. Chris Henry, an Ireland and Ulster rugby star, and Andrew Waterworth, a legendary Irish League striker. They've also been through the same health scare.
Whenever I was told it was a stroke, it was, it really knocked me off my feet. Your education, what you feel a stroke victim is certainly not somebody in the prime of their sporting career.
Chris was 30 when he suffered a mini-stroke hours before an international game. 1.9 million brain cells die every minute when someone has a stroke, so luckily he got help quickly.
My dad sadly had suffered a stroke about 4 years previously, so as soon as it happened I kind of looked and I was like, I knew the symptoms, so I had this sort of the knowledge around it, but I was like, how could I, as a 30-year-old, probably the fittest I've ever been, strong, you feel invincible, and you go, how is this happening to me? So because of that, the doctors, it took them a while to find out what the actual issue was and why I had a mini stroke, and I came from a hole in the heart. But yeah, it was a challenging couple of months definitely, and you talk about me getting back playing rugby. At that stage I just wanted to know, was I going to be able to drive a car again, or was this going to happen again, and was I going to be okay?
Chris's symptoms were the expected: face drooping on one side, weakness in the arms and slurred speech. But as Andrew knew, these are not the only signs.
Even though there's the FAST acronym, like the other elements and the other signs are dizziness, double vision, like real clear double vision, and with my double vision was unsteadiness in my feet.
And for Andrew, the emotional recovery was as big a part of his journey as the physical side.
You're very vulnerable. You're definitely in a situation where you're wanting answers, and when you hear other people's stories, which is hopefully the power of this interview, it sets your mind at ease and gives you a little bit of an understanding of how and why and what the road to recovery looks like and potentially is.
These lads are not alone. In the last 10 years, the number of people living with stroke in Northern Ireland has increased by 23%.
We need to look at, how our hospitals are operating, and that has been on the table for over a decade. Those conversations continue. We sit at the table in an all-party group and we lobby and campaign for change. What we want to see is the best possible treatment for stroke survivors in Northern Ireland.
The message from these well-known sports people: know to act fast on any symptoms. There is no such typical stroke victim. Sarah McCarran, UTV Live.
A very important message. Let's stick with the sporting theme now.
Here's Ruth at Windsor Park.
What a signing. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening from Windsor Park, where Northern Ireland face a crucial World Cup qualifier against Pool A pace-setter Slovakia. The visitors have already beaten Luxembourg and Germany, but Michael O'Neill's side will join them on 6 points with a win here tonight. At just 21, Isaac Price became the youngest player to score 10 goals for Northern Ireland. That moved him up to 10th on the all-time scoring charts, and he reached that milestone after just 24 caps against former world champions Germany.
Yeah, I don't really think it has properly sunk in yet, but it is an amazing achievement, and I don't think there's anyone else you can really do it better against than Germany. And we've got them again in 3 or 4 days, so hopefully I can put another one past them. I think a lot of it's confidence. I think I feel really good when I come away here. The manager always has me playing in a higher position than I normally would at club, and I feel like I get a lot of opportunities. I've got great players playing around me, and I feel like, yeah, each game I do have a feeling that I'm going to get a goal.
The Germans are up next on Monday night, but if Northern Ireland can beat Slovakia tonight, they would go level on points with them at the top of the group.
These are our main 2 games now. Michael obviously said in the first camp 3 points in that camp would have been great. Any more would have been really good, but I think these 2 are sort of games that are non-negotiables now. If we want to go and qualify for the group, these are the 2 games we have to win. The players we've got in the team, it would be really disappointing if we didn't get to a major tournament. I think we've got so much quality and so many players that have got so many caps already at young ages that I think if we didn't get to a major tournament soon, then it would be really disappointing for the country. But I've got full belief that we'll get there, and hopefully this can be the one that we get to. We've got players now playing more frequently in the Premier League, and that's obviously what you want, playing at the top level. And yeah, I believe we can do it.
He may have more Premier League players at his disposal, but Michael O'Neill is being careful about expectations.
Obviously Daniel and Trey and Connor and Justin are all, making inroads into the Premier League. I think people make comparisons at times with the team that qualified for the Euros. I don't think that's a good comparison, because we had 7 or 8 players that played in the Premier League and had played most of their career, if not all of their career, in the Premier League. So this team is playing in the Premier League and they're staying in the Premier League.
Not that they need any more motivation, but the camp had a special visitor in this week ahead of their 2 crucial qualifiers.
It's mad that they play in the stadium that I won the world title, and it's great that there's no pressure on me at Windsor this week. You know what I mean? It's the way about.
Massive inspiration, and he's put a bit of pressure on us now, because he made the last night at Windsor Park really special. So now it's our turn to try and go do the same thing.
Over to you, Isaac Price and co. Can they produce another big performance here at Windsor Park tonight? Well, the Republic of Ireland's World Cup qualifying hopes are hanging by a thread after their last round defeat to Armenia. Heimer Hallgrimsson said his side need almost the perfect game tomorrow night in Portugal if they're to get anything from that World Cup qualifier before they welcome Armenia back to Dublin on Tuesday.
We need to have more togetherness in the team, the squad, in the sense of sticking together. There's going to be tough moments in Portugal. We're going to have a spell where they're going to have the ball for a bit. We're going to be under pressure. So we're going to have to stick together, stick through that, defend collectively, that team. And then you have that threat to cause Portugal problems as well.
Ulster Rugby fans will get to see new South African signing Jarno Augustus for the first time in Belfast tomorrow night. Ulster welcome table toppers the Bulls to the Affidea Stadium, and they also welcome back Robert Balakoon from injury.
Jarno has been with us now for a good few weeks and he's up to speed, so he'll start at 8, and nice to welcome Rob Balakoon back onto the wing as well.
What will Jarno bring to this side, do you feel?
Physicality, ball carry. He's been a great guy in and around the changing room. He's a lovely personality within the group, and he's obviously a big point to prove as well, being a South African. So we're looking forward to seeing how he goes this week and over the next couple of weeks in those 3 South African games back to back.
Jude McAtamney kicked 4 points for the New York Giants last night in their 34-17 win over Super Bowl champions the Philadelphia Eagles. It caps a great period for the former Derry Gaelic star after he was elevated to the Giants' 53-man roster from the practice squad. In golf, Tom McKibben shot a superb 6-under 65 today in the second round of the Spanish Open at Madrid. That took him to 6-under for the tournament, 2 shots off the lead. Finally, Jonathan Rea finished 8th in free practice 1 in Estoril today. It's his penultimate race weekend before he retires from the sport in Jerez next weekend. He'll be watching. Jonathan Rea's a big Northern Ireland fan. Can Michael O'Neill's side join Slovakia on 6 points at the top of Pool A in the World Cup qualifiers? Bye for now.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Now, a peace globe has been unveiled in Londonderry, marking the fact that it is recognised as an international city of peace.
The First Minister attended the event along with young people from right across the city on the site of the former army barracks at Ebrington Square. Jordan Moore reports.
3, 2, 1.
A countdown to an unveiling of a permanent reminder of Derry's long journey out of conflict. Michelle O'Neill and a retired Presbyterian minister embracing the grounds of a former army base. David Latimer's unlikely friendship with Martin McGuinness, summing up why Derry was officially recognised as an international city of peace in 2023.
I was aware that big days come and go. People forget, I forget. So what could we do to keep the memory alive that this city has been on a journey that results in it being given the title International City of Peace? And I came up with the idea of a spherical model, three-dimensional, of planet Earth.
When you reflect on the city's transformation, the journey of the city from tough times to where we are today, it's been truly transformative, and this site speaks volumes itself.
Pupils from 13 local schools attended the event, some performing.
In times of darkness, we raise each other up. Derry to us today is a place of progression and development.
And some watching, but all with a clear vision.
This is a symbol of peace, and it's pretty, I think it shows now that we are in peace, because I've never had to think about any conflict or anything like that, because I've grown up in a time of peace. So
our history is full of violence and hatred towards one another. If we come together to have peace, and achieving that in one place means that we can achieve it everywhere else in the world.
A small symbol serving as a reminder of the past while giving hope for the future. Jordan Moore, UTV Live, Derry.
Great stuff. Time to get your weekend weather now.
Here's Aisling.
It's time to take a rain check. There's no place like home. UTV Weather. Sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
Hello there, very good evening to everyone at home. Well, there's been a fair amount of cloud around throughout today, from very first thing this morning as well, but we have had some brighter breaks in there. Into the weekend though, a little bit chilly at first. Overall though, remaining settled, high pressure dominating the weather for the next 5 days or so. However, underneath that high pressure, there is a fair amount of cloud around. As we go through the rest of this evening and overnight, there are some clear breaks out there by tomorrow morning. Temperatures dropping back to around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. So it will be a little bit fresh, a little bit chilly first thing in the morning, but it'll be frost free. Now a dry day to come on Saturday, and there'll be a lot of cloud around. Into the afternoon though, some brighter breaks developing, always a little bit of sunshine managing to break through, and temperature wise feeling very similar to today, highs of around 14 degrees Celsius. Across the rest of Ireland, under high pressure here as well. However, there is a little bit more in the way of sunshine down to the southwest. Temperature-wise, though, very similar, highs of around 14 degrees Celsius. But just taking a look at that bigger picture from Sunday all the way into Monday, high pressure just dominating the weather. So we continue to see some dry, settled weather. The question mark on the weather is always going to be the amount of cloud around. It can be tricky to forecast cloud amounts under this particular high pressure system, but overall it looks like it's going to remain largely dry, if a little cloudy at times as well. And into next week, you may just notice the temperatures starting to pick up slowly but surely, but light winds during the day, and it's going to remain dry as well, but then perhaps a little bit chilly overnight at the beginning of the week.
UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
Now coming up at 7, it's UTV Live.
Yeah, here's Pamela with the details.
Yes, on UTV Live tonight at 7, I'll be talking to the songwriting legend Phil Coulter. Playwright Kieran Haggerty and Sean Blaney and Colin McCready will be telling me about their new play Upside Down House. We'll be witnessing the arrival of the Brent Keys Castle Espy, and we'll have music from Lauren McCrory. That's UTV Live tonight at 7, right after the national weather, and on ITVX.
Oh, the Brent Geese, brilliant. Now, Sarah will be back with your late news at 10:30.
Yes, the ITV News continues with regrets here from Paul and me and everyone on the team. Good evening.
Good evening.